Hey guys, hope you guys are all doing well. I wanted to take a few minutes and share some really exciting news. I'm sure some of you have already heard or read on my Facebook post, but I got engaged on Sunday, the 4th. Very, very excited that this new season that God has me on. And I just want to take a few minutes and just kind of share with you guys the kind of how we met and how things have been going for us and kind of the history behind how all of this started. And so I think for me, it started about 4 years ago when I was an intern with Choose to Invest. We frequent a orphanage called Happy Life, and she's the social worker at the orphanage. And so I had met her in 2010 for the first time, and that's where we first kind of, her full name is Judy Wanjiku Muhia. And so that's where I met Judy for the first time. And that's where it all started. From that day, kind of met her. I was kind of thinking like, she's cute. She's kind of, but you're kind of thinking, I'm engaged in a whole nother world because I'm an intern. I've got a lot of other things focused, I'm focusing on and focused on. And so I just kind of let it go and kind of moved on. And so that's where we first kind of met and kind of started our kind of, that was when we were kind of acquaintances and so forth. And so that was in 2010. And so 2010, after 2010, came back here came back to the U.S. and then came back here in 2011 as a summer staff with Choose to Invest. And at that time, again, we every year we go to Happy Life for a week. We call it Orphan Week. And so we kind of invest and pour into the orphans and the different orphanages around. And so Happy Life is always one of them. And so got to see her again in 2011 and just kind of catch up with her and see how life was, because I hadn't seen her for a year. And so just to say hi again as a friend and things like that. And so a little like I didn't realize at the time, but God had planted something in me that I didn't know was there, but He had planted something like just to say wait and be patient. And so and I was in 2010, and so 2011, continued kind of like nothing really came to the surface. It was kind of like He still had that planted, and so excuse me. And so in 2012 was when you guys know in May is when I moved to Kenya full time, and so that's when I got to spend again with Journey again. I was helping lead Journey and disciple and do all that, and so I had a little bit more freedom within my leadership to be able to talk and have the conversations and things. So during Journey, I was able to catch up with her again, and again I hadn't seen her for a year, and so it wasn't until after Journey that things kind of started, like God really changed. God really changed something in me and switched something in me. And so it was every year Happy Life does a fundraiser they call the Walk, and it was on July 1st, I believe, and it was I think it's a 5K is what they did. And so that was the time when Hannah and my friend Edward were going to go, and they asked me and offered me. They said, "Do you want to go?" And so again, I was kind of like, I'm not really in the mood. I don't really want to do it, And it was kind of like they were like, "Come on, you'll enjoy it." And so I kind of finally gave in and caved. I was like, "All right, I'll go, and we'll see how it is." And so by this point, I had assumed, I kind of moved on and was thinking, Judy's kind of out of my league. I'm not going to be able to, she's probably already engaged or she's in a relationship or something. So I'm not, but I met her on the walk when when we started the walk. We were walking around, like there's a main highway and you're walking around that, and it kind of takes you through the area right by the orphanage. And so as we're walking, there's a ton of people, and then all of a sudden I catch eye of her. And so I kind of catch up with her, and then I'm able to talk and see how life has been for her. And it was during that conversation that God really did something in me. It was like God flipped a switch in me, and he just spoke to me and said, "This is your wife. This is a person I have for you, and I've created you for her." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, are you kidding me?" And all of the refinement, all of the things I had been going through up to this point, like that seemed so hard, and I was like, "God, why is this going on? Like, why is this so tough right now?" And it all made sense. It all made sense because God was preparing me for this day. God was preparing me to know what it means to be a good husband, to be a good leader, to be a good father, to be a good boyfriend, to be a man of God that is honoring and loving. And so it all that clicked and made sense. And so as we continued to talk, it was just like confirmation just kept happening. And so I just felt like it just made sense, and it just kept confirming and confirming and confirming and confirming in me that like I wanted to get to know her better. God, if this is a person you have, like I want to get to know her better. And so I left like, it was 5K, but it felt like 10 feet. Like the conversation was just was so good and so sweet. And so after that day, I said I have to get to know her. And so basically from the end of July all the way for the next 5 months, I just spent time just getting to know her. Like I call her on the phone, we text, we kind of like on a friend level, just kind of, hey, like getting to know each other and seeing how life is and seeing how her life is, and what growing up looked like for her and what it looked like for me, and my heart behind why I'm here and in Kenya and all of that. And so it was really good. And it was in March that I asked her out. That was the first time I was like, I have to ask her on a date. And so on March 23rd, I asked her out on our first date. And so it was just it was just further confirmation, and I knew. And it was an amazing day. As I took her to lunch, and then we proceeded to talk. Like literally, I took her to lunch and we talked for at least 6 hours, like straight, nonstop, no breaks, no nothing. Like I was just amazed that we talked for that long. And so it was just so awesome and beautiful, like just to hear, like, I said, I wanted to know her story of faith. Like, where did she come to faith? Like, what was it like growing up for her? What has it been like living here? And she's asked me the same questions. And the one question that I loved, that I'll never forget, that she asked me is, did you ever think you would want to marry or at this time date a Kenyan? And so I looked at her and I was very frank and I was very honest, and I said, well, no, but I don't underestimate what God can do. And so I said, I look at you and I see an inward beauty, external and an inward beauty. And so for me, I'm looking at your heart, and that's the thing that has drawn me the most to you, is your heart. And it just so happens to me that you're Kenyan. I'm not looking and saying it has to fit into this criteria, God, that I have to marry this person that is, white or American or something. Like I said, it doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, I told her, I said, you are the person that God has picked for me, and I'm the person that God has picked for you. And so like, like skin color doesn't matter. And so I think she was kind of taken aback by that. But again, it was just one of the one questions I always remember, and I always remember like God just giving me that answer and letting me know like it's not about that, John. It's not about that at all. And so it was awesome to be able to share that with her. But the day was just amazing. And so ever since that day, like we just continued, I continued to take her out, and we just spent time together, just going deeper and deeper and learning the nitty gritty and learning the ins and outs, the goods, the bads, of each other. And that was from March all the way until July. And so in July, I kind of knew it was time. It was just, I knew she was the one. I knew she was the one I was supposed to spend the rest of my life with. And so I said, it's time to go get the ring. It's time to ask her to marry me. And it's time to I always joke and say, seal the deal. It's time to seal the deal. So in July, I was thinking, like, now the dilemma was, never ask someone to marry me. Like, how do I make this perfect? Like, I want to make this perfect for her because she's that important. And so, like, I was thinking, God, how do I do this? Like, I don't, like she hasn't told me a lot of what she likes to do. And so I'm like, I've been trying to figure it out and all of that. And then it just happened like one Saturday. It was so God. Like, because I was talking to her and she said, my dream has always been that I want to have a picnic. My family has never taken me on a picnic, and I've never had one, and I've always wanted to. And I was like, thank you, Jesus, that you literally just gave me the idea that I asked you for, And then on top of that, she told me that one of her favorite places she hasn't been to in a long time, that I was showing her pictures of, and she was like, wow, that looks so amazing. And so I was so like thankful to God, because he pointed that right out. Like, he just laid the path straight out and said, this is what I want you to do. And so I spent the next couple weeks just like planning. Her best friend, her name is Christine. I kind of schemed and kept everything from Judy for a while, and tried to do everything kind of behind Judy's back so she didn't find out. And we planned up this entire day on the 4th, and we were going to take her to this place. It's called Paradise Lost, which is excellent choice of words. What we did was I had her set up a perfect picnic. So it's like I had the blanket out, I had her favorite meal planned out. I had roses, I had flowers, and I had candles, and I had invested kind of in things for our home that we could use that day. Like blankets and silverware and plates and all of that stuff. And so I was able to create this perfectly intimate environment, like way out in this big, massive open field. I just had this blanket set up with Christine waiting on us. And so I went and picked her up in the morning, brought her back, and had everything set up, and lunch was ready, and everything was ready for her. And she was just like, oh my gosh, like, you got to be kidding me that you did this and you had this ready. And like, she was more amazed that I kept it from her and that her best friend kept the secret from her for a while. And so it was just an awesome time. Like, we just enjoyed and shared a meal together, and just were able to play games and just enjoy time together. And then after we were hanging out there for a few hours, I kind of said, let's go for a walk. And so we walked around. The property is very, very big. And so they have a pond, and they have right at the pond, there's a waterfall. And so that's where I planned to propose to her anyway. And so I was trying to like usher her down there. And so as we're walking down there, it's when I got down to the bottom of the waterfall, and I was just staying there with her and just waited. There was a few people there, and just waited, and we just kind of spent some time there taking pictures, and then that's where I sealed the deal. You know, I told her that I loved her and I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her, and I asked her to marry me, and she said yes, and it was just an amazing rest of the day. Like, as soon as we got that done, we went and got engagement pictures the same day, which we'll be playing on this video. You guys will have seen them by now. But we'll have engagement pictures, and we had that the rest of the day, and then just able to spend and enjoy each other's time. And so so we had set the date for April 12th of next year is when we're going to get married. And then, kind of for those of you who I'm sure are anxiously wondering where I'm going to have the wedding is going to be here in Kenya. And it will be, there's a university right by here that we want to have our wedding at. And so that's where we're going to have it in April. And then what I'm going to do is in August, when I come home to kind of like share with you guys, that's when my 2 years will be finished, and I'm going to come back and share the story of what God did, and Judy's going to come back with me, and we'll all be able to meet her, and you guys will be able to say hi and congratulate and be able to put a face with the name now, and just being able to see you guys. And so we plan on doing that. We plan on spending some time just fundraising, and because we want to have our life here and do things here. And so we're going to spend a few months just spending time with family and all of you guys, and just kind of sharing the story of what God did within our relationship, but then also what God did within my role as community relations manager. And so just being able to share all that with you guys, and then we'll head back here, and this is where we're going to be stationed full time. And so that's the story behind kind of how we met and everything. Like, I can't say enough about her. She's amazing. She's perfect. She's beautiful. Like, I'm just amazed. Like, every time I look at her, God, it's always a reminder to me of God's faithfulness and His love and His care and His provision, if we're willing to trust Him. Every time I see her, that's always a question. I mean, that's always something that God says to me are you willing to trust me every time I see her? And it's just a beautiful thing. And I'm like, God has been peppered and been so intertwined and interwoven in our relationship. It's just crazy. And so I'm so thankful that He brought her to me, and He brought me to her. And we'll be able to kind of start this new season together of life, and just being able to learn how to be an effective and great husband. I can't wait to learn and be able to know, what does it mean to be a husband and a father that loves his children unconditionally, and a husband that loves his wife like Christ loves the church. Like, how do I love Judy like Christ loves the church? Like, I'm excited to explore that and to know that. Just excited to walk forward in this new season, and excited to walk forward in my new life with her, with Judy, and just to be able to do ministry together and to do life together. So yeah, so that's a little bit behind Judy and me and how we met in our relationship. And so excited to share it with you guys. I know some of you guys are probably I know all of you are very excited, but some of you are probably hearing it for the first time. And so just excited to be able to share it with you. And just let you know that that's some things that have really changed here and in me. And so looking forward to a new life and this new season that God's going to have me on and God's going to have us on. And so excited to share in the joys of it and fill you guys in on what God's doing. And also excited to share with you guys what is coming next with Journey Fall and kind of sharing how God moved and how God worked in that time, in the time to come in September. And so Journey will be here in September and they'll leave in November. And so excited for this new season of Journey as well, and sharing with you guys what God does. And so yeah, so that's a little bit into how I've been and what life has been like. And so I miss you guys. I love you guys. I wish, kind of selfishly, I wish I could be there and just kind of like pop in and pop out of the U.S. and just being able to meet with each one of you and kind of see you guys face to face and be able to hug you guys and love on you guys. And I just want you to know that from my heart I miss you guys and what I do, and being able to come here and do the ministry I'm doing and being able to meet Judy. It's not possible without your willingness to be faithful to give. And so I just always want you to know that every time I leave, I always want you to remember that that's why I'm here, is because you guys were willing and faithful to be good stewards of what God had given you. And so for that, I'm thankful. And so yeah, I look forward to updating you guys again soon on just the new things that happen and kind of like what God does in this new season. So again, thanks for hanging out for 16 minutes and listening to me and hearing the story behind Judy and getting to know the person who's going to be with me the rest of my life. And I'm going to be with her the rest of my life. And so just excited to be able to share that with you guys. So love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Look for my next post. So talk to you later. See ya.